Guys, I need a favor. I don't ask you for many, but I need one. Listen to what happened to me. So, I haven't talked to Chris Leben in a period of time. And Chris Leben's a very important person to me. I got to start his amateur career. He chose me to be his promoter, which is a big honor. You take that with you. But he was also my teammate. He was my workout partner. I saw him every day. Chris Leben is somebody special in my career, and I have a number of guys like that, but I haven't heard from Chris in a period of time, so I call him out of the blue. I like to check in on the boys every now and then. Call Chris up. He didn't sound great. He didn't sound too great at all, but he answered the phone. He was happy to hear from me. I finally said, Chris, what's going on? You don't sound so great. He said, oh, Chael, I thought you knew. I said, knew what? He said, Chael, I've been in the hospital for 27 days. I said, what? He said, I just got off a respirator. I thought it was the end. I said, Chris, that's not what this call is, and I'm sorry that I haven't called sooner. I didn't know any of this. Start at the beginning. So, and apparently this is public. You guys might have known this. I went right to a Team Quest group, and I got the boys together, and 3 of them had heard of it. 2 of them, it was news to them, but I'm just sharing for you. I didn't know. So, it was COVID situation, but he got it really bad. I had to ask, hey, were you vaccinated? Now, that's probably a rude question in all fairness, but I needed to ask. It's just what came out of my mouth, and he answered. He said no. So I share that with you. Gets off the respirator, but he's still in the hospital. I said, well, Chris, are you getting out soon? 27 days. Are you getting out soon? And he sounded strong. He even sounded good. And he was pretty jovial, Chris, but he said he didn't know. He didn't know. He said his lungs collapsed. It was just a tough story. The favor that I'm here to ask you, go to social media, say what's up to Chris Leben. Tell your favorite Chris Leben story. I'll start. My favorite Chris Leben story is I bought a bunch of Chris Leben stories. We were headed to Japan. We were on an airplane. It was Brian Parsons. It was Chris Leben, Heath Sims, Ed Herman, and I. And we're going to be Team Quest. And we're going to take on fill in the blank. The event was Pancrase, but it's going to be Team Quest versus whoever it was whatever gym we took on. So Chris starts telling these stories. I mean, we're on a plane for 18 hours. They're the funniest stories. And Chris is a great storyteller, not to mention, there's a Jack and Coke added every 20 minutes to the story. And we don't have to say a word. We just sit and listen. So I buy some Chris Leben stories from him. Now, in all fairness, that's a Seinfeld bet. Kramer sold Peterman stories, and Peterman was going to write a book. And then later, Kramer was telling a story. Peterman overheard him and came up with his legal team, says, you can't do that. That's not your story. It didn't happen to you. That happened to me. And I did the same thing to Leben when I reheard him telling one of these stories that I now own. The whole thing was meant to be funny, and it was. But I never did actually what Peterman did, like wrote a book or tried to take credit for some of these stories. But Leben had the craziest stories that I could not relate to. Leben in the home that he grew up in. The guardian of Chris. I know exactly what I'm not going to say. Aunt, uncle, mom, dad. Chris's guardian got hooked on meth and worked at Home Depot. Now, apparently meth will give you an energy and you will stay up around the clock. So the guardian would steal things from Home Depot, work around the clock with other meth addicts. Chris would go out on a Friday night, come home Sunday night, couldn't find his house. I said, Chris, what do you mean? He said, Chael, I came home one day. The door isn't where the door is supposed to be. The house is a different color, and there's a fence and a yard already. He goes, they worked around the clock for 3 days, hooked on meth and supplies that they stole from the Home Depot. Well, I can't relate to that. I did not have that. I knew where my house was, but these were the kinds of stories that Chris was telling us on our way to Japan. Then Chris did an interview, and I appreciate it. I thought this was a funny moment between Chris and I. Chris told that story to Helen Yee. Helen Yee is the schmo's, I think, wife. And he told her the story, and so now that's circulated. So it was just this great moment. And when I was on the phone with Chris, I even said, Chris, do you need anything? People probably offer you that. It's a real offer from me. Do you need some food? Can I get you some magazines in there? Is there anything you need? He said no. He said, I'm actually handling the food pretty good. Chris's wife, Brittany, was right there by his side. He didn't need anything to read or any company. And I said, well, if you ever get bored, call me. I'll tell you some of my stories, which was a reference that I would tell him his own stories. He completely missed it. He wanted to hear some. The joke backfired. But the point is this. The crippler is hurting a little bit. He could use a little support. He did a lot of things for you guys and for your entertainment because your opinion of him matters to him, so reach out to him, whether you've met him or not. Tell him hello, wish him well. Thank you.